All right. So here we are in our AI, exploring AI class, and we are privileged to have Taylor Garratt coming in to talk to us about how he uses AI in his job. I'll let you know how I met Taylor is through my husband's company. My husband had some, I think I mentioned to you guys, he had some images that he needed to um, be adjusted in a very rapid pace, which was faster than the original artist could produce them. And the original artist was happy to have Taylor come on board and create some of them, turn some of them into mini videos. But he's got, I would, looking at his LinkedIn, I guess the thing you would probably understand most is that does really amazing AI prompt engineering, but there's much more to him. So I'm going to turn this over to him now, and here we go. And it's all yours.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you guys for having me. And I love that you're even in a class that exists for something like this and that you can actually start learning about AI because it's super important that you do. It's I admittedly live in an AI bubble, that is almost completely comprised of AI users and creators and builders. And so it's funny how when you get outside of that bubble, you guys may be, either in that bubble or getting in there. But if you get outside of it, there's very little knowledge that like people have barely even, discussed AI if at all or used it or anything. So I think it's amazing that y'all are in here doing this. So like Monica said, I'm um, I work like that is my main source of income right now is doing jobs using AI, either creating AI art or working with AI artists. So I'm an artist on one project, and on another, I work for an AI art focused marketplace as like the team lead for artist relations. So I just kind of reach out to artists and promote them or bring them on. So there's a lot of different ways that you can make money out in the real world using AI, and pretty soon that you will have to. That's kind of what a lot of people have the thinking of, is that AI is not going to replace people, but people using AI will replace those workers most likely, because you guys have probably already learned all about that. But so what we're going to talk about today is the one of the main things I do, which is a lot of video generation, using either text to video, just going straight up from a text into a video, or using initial images that I've created in Midjourney or Dolly on GPT, Bing, whatever, and then animate them. And I've been doing that for probably a couple years now, since the original days that, if you guys remember, all you could do was like zoom in and it would spin and make fractals and just kind of obscure stuff. And it's come a long way since then. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share with you. And anybody who wants to, feel free to come off the mic and ask any questions that you want. This is totally ask me anything. If you're wondering anything about anything, just feel free to stop me and I'll answer any questions that you have as best I can. So let's see. Let's do this guy. All right. So you guys should be able to see my screen now.
Yep, we can see you.
Sweet. Okay. So these are the main tools that I'm using for this. Is you've got clearly Midjourney is always going to be a powerful tool. They're always updating. Have you guys used Midjourney yet? And I can't see the video right now, so you might have
They actually, we have not had them do Midjourney. I'm going to, because I think that they've taken away all the free access. They have used things like Crayon already, so they've done some image generation.
Okay. Okay, cool. So as you guys probably know, if not, if you haven't used Midjourney, you've probably at least seen stuff from it. And it's a pretty powerful tool. And it's like most things, you have to learn how to how to talk to it. And while as they iterate from version 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, it is great to see the improvements that happen. it can also be frustrating because you have to a lot of times completely revamp how you talk to that AI, because not only could the image generation improve, but they may also change how the LLM side of the AI interprets what you're asking of it. And so you always got to kind of be on your toes and don't get complacent with one tool at any time, because and I'll show you a progression of tools and why that's the case. So if you've never heard of this one, this is called Runway, and they have a very popular video generator, which is Runway ML Gen 2. And essentially, this is a generator where you can plug in any of your images that you want. Like I believe I just downloaded one. We'll bring it in just to give you a kind of view of how it works. So we'll bring in our image. And this is an image that I made while I was messing around with. So I don't know that all image generators are like this with AI right now, but on Midjourney specifically, you can add cool camera styles. This one was Canon PowerShot G7X3, and it will give you specific output, and it will all tend to look just like that. And you can, if you're a photographer and you know what LUTs are, basically color packages that you can add to your images, you can also add those, and it's a powerful way to get similar looking images. So if you're trying to make a full-fledged movie or trailer or reel that you want to look the same, this is a way that you can get that. So it's a powerful way to get a little consistency in what you're doing. So over in Runway, we're going to put our image in there. And when Runway started, they were the best of the best when it came to image or video generation, but they were expensive. They were $95 if you wanted a month of it with unlimited access, which is a lot of money. Unless you're just already doing really well financially, that can be an immediate no. So they were the premium option too. And a lot of people were upset about that. I also, at the time, I couldn't afford it, so I was a little salty about it. But eventually I understood that it was a professional tool and people were doing a lot of professional stuff with it. It wasn't just a toy to play with. And so for a while there was this divide where people were just wanting to use open source, which was a lot tougher to use and definitely a higher bar of entry. And then these guys came along, Pika Labs, and they went the exact opposite direction. They had a style that was almost as good as like quality and fidelity wise as Runway, but it was free. So all you had to do was log into their server, and you could get in there and generate as much images as you want to, or videos rather. And so that was really cool. They democratized the whole video generation scene, really. And they've been doing a good job of keeping up with Runway. And then they were the two big ones for a while. And then comes along, like literally a month ago or less maybe, Leonardo, who is a good image generator. They've been good for several months now, but they finally opened up motion as well. So it's one of those things where you have to keep up with it, and you can't be scared to like branch out and try something. Because specifically with Leonardo, what we're seeing in testing it is that a lot of times it's better at detecting a background than Runway and Pika, whereas it can more easily kind of separate the subject of the image from the background. Like this is a really good example. Just its ability to keep what's called temporal coherence between all of these faces and everything. That's a big deal. Let me I think I guess I just gotta download it in here, and that way y'all can see it a little bit better. But so temporal coherence is probably one of the biggest things when you start to use video generation. That's its ability to just not completely shred everything to hell. Like as it's moving the camera along, It's able to keep shapes, and but you can tell it even happens here a little bit. Like it's not able to really maintain, and that's part of the technology movement. But my main point of all of that is just don't be scared to try like paid apps, unpaid apps, open source things. Like there's all kinds of tools coming out all the time, almost every day, that are blowing people's minds. And so let's go back to Runway. That's just a little history of the main video generators in general. Just figured it's good to know before you hop into it, just know what you're dealing with. And a lot of times people will ask me, which one should I do? And that is a tough question to answer. And I would probably answer it like that. They're all viable, but it just depends what you're wanting to do and how advanced you are. So back to Runway. This one is probably the most advanced, especially with your ability to use tools within it and to change things. Pika's pretty good. They're as I'll show you, they're right there with them, but they do two different things. So on Runway, you've got a new feature here that's called Motion Brush. And it's where you can use this brush here. You've got 5 different brushes, and you can essentially paint the things that you want to move. So if we want, say, this guy's tentacle to move here, we could give it some ambient noise. And what these things mean, this is if we want the selected, like the selection to go right, we would use horizontal axis. If we want it to go up and down, we would use vertical. If we want it to get closer towards us or away from us, we use proximity. And then ambient noise is just kind of wiggle where you are, if that makes sense. So we're going to like select these little tentacles here. You don't have to be super accurate with it. It essentially understands what you're wanting for the most part. You just want to get it kind of close. And so if you wanted to, you could, use brush 2 to change this guy, what his arm does, and have it lift up. But one thing you'll find pretty quickly if you start using these tools is that there's an amount of forgiveness you have to have for how much movement is going on and how much tearing or unfavorable distortion is happening. And there's an element of patience because you sometimes have to, generate them several times. So we're going to generate a couple just using this. Hang on a second. I've got a dog out here barking. Give me 1 second. I'm going to mute myself. All right, sorry about that. So I'm just running a couple of these with just these additions of the tools here, but we'll go ahead and do some other ones using camera motion. And so these are your typical camera motions where you can say, I want the camera to pan to the right. And the amount that you're giving it here is essentially the speed and the amount that you want it to go. And so if you crank it up to 10, it's going to really try to move the camera over in an exaggerated fashion. And you're going to get a lot of just shredding of the character usually. Sometimes it'll surprise you. Sometimes you'll get an incredible result with these higher numbers, but that is one where you really have to up your own patience because you're going to get a lot of failures. So let's go ahead and get a couple just like that. And then we're going to go back. Oh, okay. So we've already got an output here. Okay. So it's a little, I didn't add very much. So it's just barely wiggling a little bit. His arm is going up a little bit. But you can see how powerful this is right out of the gate, that you have all that ability to change things, because I go beyond an image like this, go to like fractals or some crazy geometric patterns or symmetry that you have in an image. And suddenly all kinds of things are possible, you know. You could be moving different colors, different lights at different times, and make all kinds of different patterns. It's really cool. And you can, if you like what you have in one of these, you can also extend it. We'll see which one is our winner. And as you guys have probably already noticed, a huge part of generating AI images or video is straight up on you. It is, you know, your own curation ability to look at it and say, oh, this is exactly what I want, or not quite. Let me just press the button some more. And that is why you may understand, oh, wow, look at the, you can definitely see in this one. This is the one where I cranked it up to, I think, 8, and then had the camera go to the right. So you can see how it's really distorting things. It turns the octopus's tentacle into the lamp. And so, yeah, not a lot of temporal cohesion happening here. So we're going to go ahead and not do that one. I think this, I guess the second one is probably the best of the ones that we got here. And we're going to go ahead and extend it. And then we're going to click this extend button down here. And when we go to extend, you can actually change the controls here. So you can extend it and then tweak around the camera controls. And that's how, if you've seen any cool AI music videos or anything like that, which are starting to surface now, you'll notice that there's a lot of that where the camera seems to be zooming in and rotating, and then it'll go up and down and do all kinds of crazy movements just to keep it interesting.
I have a question for you.
Mhm.
If you had something and you had the movement to be like 2 to move to the right, and obviously when you put on 6, it was being kind of crazy.
Yes.
If you did a 2 and then you did another 2 to extend and another 2 to extend, would you get that same? Is it like, do 3 2s add up to 1 6?
Yes. So it would do the exact same, or it would at least attempt to do the exact same motion so that you have a smooth motion going in there. It wouldn't be a multiplicative add up of them. But in the sense which I think you're asking, it would keep trying to go. Like it would keep pushing the astronaut further and further over. And eventually it with the number that high too, as I had it, you would quickly no longer see the astronaut, and who knows what it could become. That is a big part of AI video. Let me show you guys. I did an interview with an artist just the other night, and her name is Nice Aunties. She is from Singapore, and in my opinion, she is creating some of the coolest videos in the sense of just, she is breaking the AI. Like, that is not, what could you guess what prompt other than clearly sushi, you know, I think she uses antis or anti-culture or anti-core, something like that in her prompts to get this kind of stuff. But that is, I think that is kind of the outer edge of AI video generation right now, is people that are pushing the tools to the point that they are breaking them. And specifically, she is doing it because she comes from a very structured culture, and so this is her way of pushing back, as she explained it. She prefers to do it with like humor and things, which I thought was amazing. You know, it says a lot about a person's character to like fight a system that maybe you don't believe in that way, you know, to keep it civil but do it with humor and do it by being clever. And so we're seeing a lot of videos like that. And I think it's important to get yourself, you know, whatever social media you use, IG, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, they all have a healthy AI community. A lot of times it's good to immerse yourself in that, you know, for whatever's healthy for you, just a little bit each day or a couple times a week. Just dip in there and take a look at what people are doing. If you see something cool and that's the person that did it, go ahead and give them a follow, you know, or follow their page and check back on it every once in a while. And because it's, you never know where you're going to get inspiration from. And it's important to stay inspired, because the worst thing with AI that I've experienced is burnout. Because it's, if you haven't heard this yet, I would be surprised, but there's a saying in AI that essentially a week, a month is a week is a day. Everything moves so much faster. Whereas in the IRL, the normal world, you're used to, okay, let's wait for the next big Apple thing. It'll be 6 months, it'll be a year, it could be, you know, the Vision Pro took a long time to get to this day that it's coming out. That took forever. And that's kind of the next step in tech, like on your body tech. So it's, AI is a different thing completely. I mean, these tools, Runway will typically come out with something brand new every week or every 2 weeks. They work very fast because they're working with AI as well. Like their dev teams are all, you know, super experienced in Python, Rust, everything that you need to completely build a cohesive AI system and to update and iterate it. And you use the AI to help you iterate it because it's great at that kind of stuff. So it's definitely, you have to watch out for burnout. It's a problem. And one way to do that is to just look at other people and look at what they're doing and be inspired by it. You don't have to copy it. You don't have to pursue that, but it's good every once in a while to just see that, oh yeah, this stuff is still growing. It's still blowing my mind, because you'll find that that's one of the main things that you want out of this kind of tech too. The video generation is, I want my mind to be blown. I want to see something really cool. Whether it's something super realistic or something incredibly surrealistic that couldn't ever exist, you know, like whatever it is, I just like that little shot of adrenaline and just oh my God, this is cool. I want to do something like it. But yeah, so we did some motion controls. I don't know if we, okay, so this was a little bit lighter, but still, you know, there's still some work to be done, but that's also the background and the shredding of the background and foreground like that. That is something that happens a lot in Runway in general. You have to be really patient with this one and try it a bunch of times if you're really looking for a super specific effect. So I'll go ahead and run some more and we'll move on to another tool, but this is your general motion tab. If you don't want to mess with camera motions and all that other stuff, you can just move this guy too. Let's see here. I'll move this down to 3, and then we're not going to add anything to it. And what you do when you don't add any camera commands or motion brush or anything like that, you're just kind of telling it, you know, hands off the wheel. I want you to do whatever you think. And a lot of times you'll get good results because it's pretty good at interpreting what the image is, but it's not perfect. So we'll run some of those. And while we're waiting for them, GPT is one of my main tools, especially when I'm working on like David's project to create quick but amazing art. This is definitely one of my favorite tools because you can just pop in what you need, and it's an LLM, so it's really interpreting what you're saying to a T, you know, to a fault. Sometimes if you typo and it's the wrong word, you may end up with the wrong thing in there. But it's pretty good at also identifying that. So this is where I'll create like, let's see, hyper realistic image of an anthropomorphic hedgehog playing basketball. Actually, yeah, we'll say milking a cow. I found out yesterday that AI is not very good at knowing what milking a cow is. So got some interesting results. And it's quick too. And what I find workflow wise is if you do use GPT to create with Dolly, whatever the output is, and I'll show you this in a minute, you can go to the information about it and it will give you the actual prompt that it used. Oh, here we go. Oh man, he's cute. Yeah, see, it equates milking a cow to like gassing up a car or something, which I find incredible. And so what we do is we go to the eye here at the top right, and it will show you exactly what it used as a prompt. So Bing is free, and it spits out 4 images at once, which is really cool. So you can essentially plug this into Bing and get 4 different results from this one. And they will be similar because they both use Dolly 3, but they're using slightly different interpreters in the LLM elements. So you know, even though you may get one result that does look similar, you'll get 3 other results that are probably decently different. So this is good workflow wise. You can put out a ton of art in a short amount of time. And some projects are looking for that. That's what they want. And that was how it was with David's project is he wants the art to be good, but it doesn't need to be which his artist on the project is a guy named Nat Jones, who's a legendary comic artist. Um, you know, it's a lot of money to pay somebody to hand make art like that. And the amount you're going to get, you'd be lucky to get a few pieces in a week. And that's if they're super busting ass. But most likely it could be 1 piece in a week or 2 weeks. So that's where I can come in. And because I am good with the prompting and knowing how to get the images that I want out of it pretty quickly, it makes you a really good candidate for an artist job like that.
Have
And
you got have you gotten
okay.
any feedback on your work from Nat Jones?
Yeah, it is pretty cool to have him. He has liked several of my things, both on Twitter and in our chat. He will like it sometimes whenever he gets on there, and yeah, it's definitely pretty cool. On the last project we did, he actually gave us permission to train an AI with his work. So I was able to go through, train it with his work, and then go ahead and create art that was not the things that I created were way more playful. Like his style is dark, Spawn, Conan, those kinds of comics is the stuff he works on. But mine was more playful. It was frogs, like cartoon 50s looking frogs, drinking beer, you know, and they were all doing all this crazy stuff. And um, it's cool because that's still an option. You can use the one that we used was Scenario GG for that, and I think it's just called maybe Scenario. But that's a really easy one. Easy one. You can pop in 20 different images. It creates a style, and boom, you're off running. So if that's what I tell people, if they have, because a lot of people are hesitant about this because of the questions, the uncertainty behind usage and what they were trained on, things like that. My response is always, hey, you can't be too safe. If you want to, go ahead and, you know, use your own art or use someone who you have permission to use their art and plug it in there and use it that way instead. Because who knows what's going to come of all of this, you know, what lawsuits, what those things will change or not change. So it's always best to trust your gut. And if you don't feel right using it, then there's better ways to use it or open source ways that are, you know, you can train yourself. So just don't fret if you have those feelings. So this is Pika Labs. This is the one I mentioned earlier, which it was free for a long time when it was in beta. And then finally, I want to say a month ago, they went into paid services where I think you can pay 10 or 20 or $30 a month, the different tiers. And you get quite a few credits for it. But this one is a little bit different. I mean, I guess a good experiment could be we'll plug our astronaut guy in here and we will do a little pan motion on this one. And we'll do the strength of motion to 2. These are all your camera controls. You can get to that by hitting this camera down here. And this one you can actually tilt up and down, you can rotate, do a little rotate too. Okay. Just get it going. And I'm not describing anything here, but this is one thing you can do. Actually, you can do this in Runway too. You can do image and text so that you can describe what's going on in it. And some of these, I don't remember if it's Leonardo, but one or two of the tools that I've interacted with actually create a description of your image right when you import it, which is a really good feature. Otherwise, you can just go back to what, if you created it on Midjourney, you could just copy this too. You just copy out the prompt and then use that in here in the image. And in fact, we'll do that right now. It's always an experiment. Like, I definitely don't talk to you guys as someone who's above you or like an expert at this, because it changes every single day, and I'm always myself trying to read and ingest as much news as I can. YouTube is a really good way to do that. Find you a favorite streamer that talks about, these are all the week's tools that came out, throw it in while you're jogging or chilling or whatever, and just listen to it. And a lot of times, most times, I'll say the tools they're talking about, especially like one of the guys I watch is Matt Wolf. A lot of the tools he talks about are free, straight up, and they can be iOS tools, they can be on Mac, they can be PC. It really varies. Okay, so this is our interesting image here. So look at this wildness where it is just moving the table, all his legs. He's doing a little dance down here. The octopus is having a great time. But it's also a lot more movement, right? Like, you have to be, if you're somebody who you are just looking for something realistic, this ain't it. This specific prompt here. So that is another part of where it requires a lot of patience and learning and not being afraid to go look at other people's prompts. That's a reason that all of these generation sites have at the beginning, you can go look at any of these and it tells you exactly what the prompts are. And it's not, you're not doing anything wrong. The reason they have these is because the artists that used them and created them, they chose to have it uploaded. So those prompts are there for you to learn and to get better. Look at that. That's even an astronaut. And it also shows us, look at how beautiful this video is. And they literally use the word underwater. It never ceases to amaze me how incredible the output is that I'll get from something simple. Some of the scariest images, I'm not even going to show you guys because I don't want to haunt anybody's dreams. But some of the scariest stuff I get will be going on like Midjourney and putting in cursed image or something like that, or in here, cursed video. And you'll get some scary stuff where it's not just scary in the sense of a scary movie, but it's scary because the AI is coming up with a horror concept. You know what I mean? Like, there's something to me that's extra creepy about that, because it's coming from the mind of the AI whenever it's creating it. So it's always something you've never seen before. And so you can do a lot of cool experimentation. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. It could be, you could just use the word cute or kawaii or something like that, and you're probably going to get really neat results from it.
If you have a picture that is, a vertical and you want it to change to be, for the AI to fill out the scene around your astronaut, how would you, is that something you can just easily do in your prompt to say, make it this aspect ratio?
It's absolutely wild that you ask that at this moment, because Pika is the one tool that can do that right now. So
Ah,
that's funny you said that. You can upscale, and let me see. It has been a little bit since I've used it. I typically use Runway, and that's because I
mhm,
use work. Here we go, edit. And so you can modify a region,
mhm.
which that is the inside. So you can change if you didn't like something in here, but you can also expand the canvas, which is what you're referring
Yeah.
to. So let's see. We can go real wide to a 4x3. Let's try that. Man, thank you for asking that, because that is a really cool feature that they just added. I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago to Pika Labs, and they're the
Another
only one that you can do that with.
another question I had is if you brought in a image of your astronaut and then you just adjusted the text to say, have the astronaut pick up the teacup with his left hand, might you get better results by combining that, or is it usually better, or have you had better luck using your motion brush tools?
I typically stick to the motion brush, but that could be because I'm jaded from the months and months of not having the ability to specifically control exactly what you want. I think there's all the reason in the world to explore doing that as well. We could do that right now. Let's see. We need to throw this stuff away, and we're gonna do astronaut. What's it got there? That's a mug or something. I can't even tell. Let me open it up.
He's got a coffee cup.
There we go. Okay, so that's weird. It auto-filled for me. Okay.
But in writing the prompt, is it still going to reference that first one you imported, or do you have to have image or video first up there?
If we didn't do it, it would do its own take on it, but you never know. It might be incredible when it does. We'll try that. We'll compare the two. And let's remove that and then add that. Also, I am hitting the generate button a bunch of times, which you really don't have to do. The beauty of Pika is you can hit retry, and it will just add the extra one underneath here. So it's nice and condensed, and you don't have a ton of the same video here. And while we're waiting for those to print out, let's go over here to Leonardo. And this will be the last one that we take a look at. That'll give you guys a look at kind of all the mainstream ones that you can get right on your computer. You don't have to learn any coding or how to install it on the back end of the computer or anything like that. You can just use it directly from the site. So that was why I picked these. So let's see. We want image to image. There we go. Okay, so I clicked on motion at the top. And we're going to add our astronaut. Or not. No pun intended. Let's see. Go to downloads. Hey, that's me. You always got to try to put yourself in there and make yourself do some weird stuff. It's just fun. Here we go. Okay. So we got motion strength is the only thing. So Leonardo is kind of the latest one to the scene, and you can tell by a lack of motion tools. It just is very basic right now. And once you run it, you can remix it, things like that. But they also have been focusing on other crazy tools that these other sites don't have. So a lot of times that's how these platforms are having to, or the projects are having to set each other apart. Or set themselves apart rather from the other ones, is they will have a ton of features that the other one does not have. So there's always this game of either catch up or jump ahead by creating your own big features. So that's one good reason to follow each of these projects on whatever you kind of use as social media, because you want to keep up with what is the latest meta in what's happening in AI art, because it's so easy to miss it just because you're inundated with it. I think we go to personal feed. And so even though Leonardo is late to the scene, you can see that it's maybe that's a good thing for them, right? Because look at the cohesion here as it goes. I mean, the other ones had everything in this restaurant was flipping all over the place. This one, nice and smooth. Not bad. And so as these guys add more tools to this and more abilities to it, you never know. It may become the most viable one for whatever you're working on. And that's why it's also good to have AI homies too. So you don't have to always look it up yourself. Have a group, have yourself a Discord or something where you and some friends, if they're into AI, or people you don't know, that's sometimes how you're going to meet some of the coolest people is by just getting out of your typical circle and meeting some people that are in something that they're completely inundated. And that's what I had to do. I live in a little bitty town with 3,000 people. My family doesn't care about AI. I don't have any friends that care about it. So I had no choice but to get online and find other people that were completely head over heels with that tech and then kind of collaborate and give each other. That's what we typically do is we'll have a Discord where we'll have a newsroom on the Discord and just everybody can contribute to it. If you see some cool tool that came out or a crazy update, just pop it in there and then everybody has an easy way to check in and see what's new. And I'll pull these up. Really, I guess we're getting to the end. If anybody had any questions for me or anything, like I said, I'm happy to answer. Wow, these came out good. Not much coffee happening, but the astronauts, okay, she's got one here.
It's hard to drink your coffee through your helmet.
Yeah, but it's hilarious to see them try. And
So,
okay, this
so students, really, now is a good time to ask Taylor some questions because we're heading towards the end of class, and I know that you guys are probably, wow, look at what this can do. But do you have any questions you want to ask? Go right ahead.
too mind blown. I get it.
Yeah, this is a lot. It's a lot to take in.
It
It's a lot
is.
to take in. But no, guys, that you will be doing this on Monday. Um, so hold on a second here. I'll start my video back up. I always turn it off so that we get better throughput when I'm
You can
recording.
use
But
resource. If you want to hit me up, like if anybody has questions while they're doing that and then you encounter questions, feel free to reach out to me and just ask me for them and I'll happily help you guys.
that's fabulous. Thank you so much. I noticed that you've got uh what was it here? That you're an AI course instructor even.
Yep.
Um, Tell us a little bit about that.
That is a thing that we do with AI Imagine. That's the marketplace that I work for. We're doing it once every other week. Now we're kind of pivoting to artist interviews, but we do want to bring that back. We're just kind of letting the news build up and all the tools get updated and everything. But if I do some in the future, I'll happily let you guys know because they're free. They're absolutely free. They're usually on a Sunday or something in the middle of the day. So if you're feeling it and you want to come in, and that is also open. So if you want to come up and hang out and talk and interact or whatever, you're absolutely free to.
Fabulous. So no one had a single comment or question. You guys are just, it's a Friday and you're overwhelmed. Is that what I'm saying?
Friday. For sure.
Friday. It's a lot later in the day than you've got right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on that morning juice right now. So sorry if I freaked y'all out.
Yeah, you're in Houston, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess we will wrap up. Thank you so much. I bet you when I ask them on Monday, what'd you think? They'll be all blah, 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 blah about it. But,
Yeah.
it's that Zoom shyness that overcomes everyone.
Oh,
But
I get it.
yeah, thanks so much. And I'm going to start following you. That's for sure.
Cool. Hey, thank you. And hopefully I'll be back someday. Maybe after you guys interact with it for a while, I can learn some stuff from y'all.